Welcome back to Color Class. I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
And today we are going to be looking at a couple of the palettes that we've already done. So we're going to be looking at the 4, the 6, and the 12. We're going to talk about how they all link together and also some different terminology that we've heard for some of the different categories that we see, mental maps. So we are going to be talking about all of them and pretty much how they go together, because that's an important section of color analysis that's not talked about, because usually when a color analysis is done, somebody is trained in one particular seasonal palette
or one system.
Right, one system.
And then they give their client one seasonal palette. And,
Right.
you know, maybe it's like you buy a fan or you buy a wallet or whatever. But you're never taught how they integrate
Right.
from the 4 seasons to the 6 dominant characteristics to the 12 palette system. And all of that is of a piece. It is an important factor in understanding your own colors, so that rather than, whipping out your wallet, with color swatches in it, you can walk in a store
Right.
and you can know instantly if something will work for you and something won't work for you.
Exactly.
Or if you're a stylist, you know that this will work for your client, this won't work for your client. And you will know basically by looking at it, because we have taught you the full overview of how this all works together.
So getting started, 4 palette system. Now, the 4 palette system does not work for everyone. We do want to make that clear. We completely understand. I know it is not very
Inclusive.
It's not inclusive. You're right. That's what it boils down to. It is not inclusive.
In a conversation I had with Carol Jackson not too long ago, we talked about when she did the book Color Me Beautiful. She said basically it was for Northern European women,
Right.
Of that ilk, the Caucasian look about them. And she said that was the way it was developed.
Right.
But we are not that world.
Right.
We are a different world where we have...
Right. I was going to talk about neither of us fit into that system either. So, and we also have so many different cultures, ethnicities that do not fit into this system. And that's why it is so important to really, we're going to start with the 4 and then break it down to all the others.
And you know what? I think that the fact that the 4-season system is as narrow as it is gives many people who are considering doing color analysis, it gives them pause. They say,
Right.
I don't believe in it. I don't think it works, or it doesn't work for me. Or like we know that in Korea, the color analysis is huge, but it's skewed and not quite right for people who are from Korea, China, Africa. It doesn't include the whole world if you're just talking about the 4 seasons as written. Now, once you get into the 6 dominant characteristics,
That's where it opens up.
the whole world opens up to you. And, then you will absolutely start saying, oh, I belong here. That's what happened to Sarah and I.
So starting off with the 4 palette system, you have your springs, you have your summers, you have your autumns, and you have your winters.
Now, with this, I want you to really take a look at the 4 of these sitting together, because it's very important. You can say, oh, I'm a spring, I'm a summer, I'm an autumn, and then you don't really know what that means in context. The most important thing you can do is really, take a look at the 4 of these together in context. Oh, and we will have these over on the Patreon page when the launch happens as a download, so that you can own them, put them in your notebook. Part of the important lesson, though, that we're going to learn as we move through these is why they are different. Starting with spring.
Starting with spring.
Spring is warm, bright, and clear, meaning if you take the colors, in every video I think we've ever done, I've referred back to paint coming out of a tube. So if you take these colors out of a tube, you're going to pick the warmer colors, but they're going to be bright, just like they come out of a tube. Winter, it's sister season, except that it's cool, bright, and clear. So you've got your paints here and you're putting out your palette. You haven't done any mixing yet because both of these seasons, that your own characteristics are strong enough that you can pull off bright colors and clear colors.
And then we have summers and autumns, which sister seasons. It's hard to believe sister seasons, but our summers are cool and they're muted, and our autumn is warm and muted. So these two are sisters because they're both muted, soft shades.
And remember, in the dominant characteristic, that category is called soft, and it's something Sara and I share. And in fact, I could, other than those really warm colors on the palette at the top, I could wear those bottom 2, possibly 3. And I think that you could wear the purple. I know I've seen you in an indigo that's beautiful.
The blues, yeah. The purples. Purple is pretty neutral. Blue is pretty neutral. So yeah, both of those I could pull off. And
as long as they're soft.
Right.
Now, what does that mean coming out of a tube? What it means is it's a blended color. So if you're mixing it on, and we're going to do a video, I've been promising this forever, where we actually mix color right on the screen. But if you're mixing it right out of the tube, you mix in a little gray for summer, and you might mix in something like a little sepia, maybe with just a hint of black, something to just dull it down and make it a little bit softer than it was when it came out of the tube.
Right. So here they are side by side. We always will put these things together so you can get the full visualization. Starting off with spring, we have light, warm, and clear. And then summer, light, cool, and soft. Autumn's deep, warm, and soft. And winter's deep, cool, and clear. It's really good to have all of these side by side. If you are taking notes, like we talked about the notebook, the color class notebook, if you are taking notes, make sure you have these side by side because this is the best way to learn the differences. And this is right here, the 6 palette system. These are the designations for our first scale is light to deep. Our second scale is cool to warm. I should say warm to cool. And our third scale is soft to clear.
And I just want to mention, clear is a funny word. Clear is a tough word to kind of wrap your head around. So use it interchangeably with bold.
Yeah. High contrast.
High contrast. Clear, because clear, what does clear mean? Clear means like you're looking at a
clear
glass
colors.
of ice water. But in the world of, everybody, and, if you're not a color,
you would think it's like see-through almost.
Exactly. But clear just means it is clear of anything that mutes it down. Now, what's interesting about the 12 palette system, we gave you the descriptors just a moment ago. And no, you're not looking at an error in terms of the slide, because the descriptors that we just went over a minute ago are the basis of the 12 palette system. Because what happens is the 4 seasons just literally use the 6 dominant characteristics to break off into subcategories that are more of the descriptor. If you're lighter, if you happen to be warmer, if you happen to be bolder, brighter, or if you're deeper or cooler or softer, you get to fit into one of the 12 subcategories that maybe you didn't quite fit before.
And that's where you hear light spring, warm springs, clear springs, and there's a few other there's a few other terminologies I do want to mention.
The confusion about true,
right? Sometimes when you're looking at this, you can see warm spring, cool summer. It's the middle category that we're talking about. Warm autumn and cool winter. Sometimes you might hear those referred to as true. So true spring, true summer, true winter, and true autumn. Those are the same. They are just a different terminology used, but they are not referring to the 4 palette system. So I know that gets a little tricky because if you were to hear that.
To me, they've said, oh, well, I'm a true summer. That means that I just fit into the 4 palette system and I'm a summer.
No.
Not so.
that is referring to the 12 palette system as one of the middle designations. That's why we do it a little bit different, because we did start off teaching the 6 palette and moving into the 12 palette, and we use those 6 palette designations for here.
Very deliberately we did that.
Just to make sure it was more clear, for lack of more obvious, for lack of a better word.
Really, what we want, we're here to teach you color analysis, first of all, so you know exactly what your season is, but we don't want to create any more confusion than is already out there, because right now there is a lot of confusion, a lot of misinformation, and a lot of, and that gives color analysts a bad name. We know it works. We know it not only works, we know it changes lives. And what's happening is, with all this misinformation that gets out there, or things that are confusing, or, not quite right, or whatever, it basically makes people not believe in us, not believe in what we do. And that's the last thing we want to happen. So we started this endeavor because we felt the call to clear this up, basically make it completely understandable for everyone.
And transparent, because I know when it comes to some people using different systems, they just want to shove you into that system instead of it being the accurate place that you should be, because not everyone is taught all of the systems. I don't think anyone is actually taught
We're
all
the
of
only
systems.
people, and you guys, please tell us in our comments if we're wrong about this, but I believe that we are the only class that is teaching all the systems integrated, how they work together, and how it works in terms of overall color theory that artists would use, that artists study, that scientists study.
All right. And lastly, there's one more terminology that I do want to let you know of: soft. Sometimes soft can be referred to as muted. So you might hear a muted summer or muted autumn.
Like your season.
Yes.
And my season.
So there are definitely a few different terminologies being used. And then I'm going to back up a little bit, because I want to go back to the 6 palette system.
All right.
So we talked about the 6 palette going into the 12 palette. Now, there are a few options that are not covered within the 12 palette system. Let's see. For example, we have deep, cool, and soft. We do not see that on the 12 palette system, do we? But we do have that in the 16 palette system. So while the 12 palette system gets a little bit more narrow, it kind of tosses out a few options.
Yeah, well, it tosses out one option, and I'll tell you why. Do you want to know why? Because that in the 16 palette system, it adds the rarest of the rare in terms of if you're talking about a winter, which is deep, cool, and clear, they add soft to that, because muted winters, they're rare.
Right.
Go try to find some.
Well, we've done a whole video, and I didn't realize that there were so many people who were having difficulties. That's why I always bring it up, because Dakota Johnson is one of them. And in the comments, so many people finally understood what was happening. They weren't able to wear these super vibrant shades, but because they were soft. So they finally found a place within the 6 palette system being deep, cool, and soft.
And keep in mind that deep, cool, soft, and clear, those 4, which make up the 16 palette system, is just math, 4 subcategories rather than 3 times 4, 16 palettes. Keep in mind that the reason that people kind of stopped with the 12 palette system was because it takes care of most everybody. But unless you're one of those rare few that fits into that 4th designation, the 12 palette system will work fine. But if you are, then we're going to be teaching the 16 palette system, which adds 4 dominant characteristics for each of the 4 seasons.
All right, now moving into the 16 palette system. This is where things get a little tricky, but
it's a good part.
It's the good part. And there are a lot of different names for a lot of these different categories. So I do want to make that preface before we do this. What we are basing it off of is the terminology that we've been using regarding the 6 palette system.
Or the 6 dominant characteristics.
Right. So starting off with springs, the one that we are adding is a soft spring. Now, I do want to talk about, because we had somebody on Patreon who is a soft spring, and she was questioning what palette does she fall into, because she wasn't falling into the 4, obviously.
Oh, well, I was struck because she said her mom is a spring, and her mom is so much more vibrant than she is. Now, she's kindly given us permission to use her picture, and we're going to show you what a soft spring looks like, and you're going to see she's beautiful, but her coloring is rare.
Right. So soft springs, they are very, for lack of a better word, they are soft all over but warm. And they're not deep though. They cannot handle the soft autumn deepness. They have a little bit more to them.
Delicacy.
So
but they're warm, clearly warm.
Yes, very, very unique. But the one category that gets added is a soft spring. And then summer, we now add a clear summer. So our colors and our pigments are going to be more vibrant, bold. They're not going to be as delicate and as muted as our lights, our cools, and our softs for summer.
They're a little bit truer, as if they're, a little bit truer as they're coming out of the tube. It's almost like
bridging between a soft winter into a clear. It's brighter than a soft winter, though. It's a bridge. There's kind of a bridge there, being a clear summer.
Yeah, the most important thing to remember, though, is that a summer is, overall, they're generally light. Because if they weren't light, if they were deep, we would put them into a winter category.
Right.
But generally, people who are summers tend to be soft because there's not a lot of, let's think about what the characteristics are. They're light hair, light skin, light, there's not a ton of contrast between their hair and their skin and their eyes, etc. But what if you've got a woman who has kind of a silvery gray hair, black eyebrows? She's added, an element of contrast. There's something about her that's a little more contrasty than a typical summer. She could be a clear summer.
And then keeping with the clear theme, we also get a clear autumn. And that goes for the same thing that we just talked about. But this person is warmer.
And deeper. Deeper, the most important thing. What delineates a spring from an autumn generally? Springs are generally lighter. Autumns are generally deeper. But with an autumn, what happens is with your basic coloring, autumns are considered soft because your hair is deep. It kind of, everything gets just a little bit softer as you move into those deeper, the palette for the deeper season or subseason. But what happens if you're a little more vibrant than your typical autumn, but you're still deep?
There you go. You fall into the 16 palette system. That's right. And then lastly, we bring in our soft winters. So
we did a whole video on this.
We did. You know what? I'll link
Probably
that one.
We did it too early.
Yeah. There was a good amount of people questioning some of the 6 palette system if a certain arrangement was possible. So we did want to just get that out because we knew there were a lot of people falling into that category that were not being helped. The 16 palette system isn't as widely known. I would say the 6 palette and the 16 palette is not a very
commonly used system. But the thing about the 16 palette, the 6 dominant characteristics is it is an essential thing to learn and to know to be good at the 12 palette system. You've seen how the six dominant characteristics comprises the 12 palette system. And if you don't know it backwards, forwards, and sideways, your 6 dominant characteristics, you are going to be guessing at what season people are when you're looking at the 12 palette system. And that happens so much.
I hope this video was helpful for you. I know
It wasn't
this is
confusing.
I know I want to make sure we do this right. And that's why we're just going to bring this outline forward first so you start to understand. You can start seeing how it all pieces together. We do have other palettes that we are going to bring in after this. So that's why it's so important to learn how these different systems connect. So we are absolutely going to have follow-up digital content available over on our Patreon page. Come join us over there. We are having a ton of fun. We are starting to build a really amazing color analysis community, and we are so grateful that everyone who has joined, and we are going to be so excited to bring more of you along this color analysis journey with us. And then we're available on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Our website is up. So all those other places you can follow us on as well. And then lastly, if you want to help us out over here on YouTube, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and share the videos. Got it right this time.
Perfect.
And so doing any of those things really helps us out, especially with the YouTube algorithm, pushes us, promotes us to more people, because we want to keep doing this. We absolutely love it. We love creating content, and we love creating color analysis. Thank you again for joining us today. I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
This has been another color class, and we'll see you in our next video.